All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are going to build the definitive blueprint for getting those huge, professional male vocals that you hear on all your favorite records. And we're going to do it all inside Universal Audio's Luna recording system, specifically on a Windows PC. So, you ever wonder about that? Why your vocals recorded at home sound kind of amateurish, while the pro stuff sounds so polished, so present, so powerful? It's a super frustrating gap, right? You've got the gear, you've got the talent, but something's just not clicking. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not some magic button. It's a clear, repeatable workflow, and it starts way before you even think about hitting record. See, the secret isn't some expensive magic plugin. No, it's a 6-step process that takes you all the way from prepping your system to that final glossy polish. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. In this explainer, we're walking through that entire process, step by step, to give you a blueprint you can use over and over again. Okay, let's dive in. First things first, before we even dream of plugging in a microphone, we have to build a solid, unshakable foundation. I'm talking about stabilizing our entire environment by tuning Windows to prioritize one thing and one thing only, that uninterrupted stream of audio data Luna needs to do its job without a single hiccup. Now, take a look at this. What's so cool here is that these 4 simple-sounding tweaks, they prevent the vast majority of all those annoying audio glitches, dropouts, and clicks that drive home studio producers crazy. You know, setting your power plan to high performance and telling Windows to prioritize background services, you're basically grabbing your computer by the shoulders and saying, hey, this audio driver is the most important thing happening right now. Don't you dare interrupt it for anything. Honestly, this is totally non-negotiable if you want pro-level stability. All right, our system is now rock solid. We can trust it. So now we get to focus on the fun part, the creative stuff, capturing that perfect performance. And believe me, this is where Luna's crazy cool hardware integration really starts to shine. Okay, let's talk about Unison technology, because this is an absolute game changer. Seriously. Think of it like this. It's not just another software plugin trying to sound like old gear. No way. This is software and your Apollo hardware working together to physically change your interface's DNA in real time. It's actually changing the physical impedance to match that classic analog gear, giving you the true sound and, just as importantly, the feel of those iconic preamps. So this brings us to a really crucial choice you have to make right at the start. You're choosing the color of your vocal before you even hit record. What's the vibe? Are you going for that thick, vintage, weighty authority you hear on classic rock or hip-hop tracks? Well, that's your Neve 1073. Or do you need something more nimble, something punchy, aggressive, and mid-forward that's just going to slice right through a super dense mix? That's your API. This one choice right here shapes everything that comes after. But look, all this amazing preamp modeling is kind of useless if the singer can't hear themselves properly, right? I mean, a bad headphone mix kills a performance. That's where ARM, Accelerated Real-Time Monitoring, comes in. This is the magic that lets your vocalist hear their own voice with all those inspiring effects, like a gorgeous reverb or a cool delay, right in their headphones. But, and this is the key, with 0 distracting lag, no annoying delay. It all happens on the Apollo's own DSP chips, so your computer CPU doesn't even break a sweat. So, we've got our great take, but let's be real, it's probably not perfect. A note here, a timing thing there. So now we move into the editing phase, and this is where a technology called Aura absolutely revolutionizes the whole cleanup process for pitch and timing. And what this means, what you're seeing here, is a total workflow game changer. I mean, gone are the days of that old, clunky process where you had to transfer the audio, literally playing your entire vocal track into a plugin in real time just to start editing. Ugh. ARA just creates this direct link. It lets you edit pitch and timing as if Melodyne was a built-in, native part of Luna's own editor. It's seamless. And the workflow, it's just beautiful. It's so fast, it feels instantaneous. You literally just select the clip, you call up Melodyne from the menu, and bam. All the notes, the little blobs, are right there, ready for you to tweak. This lets you make these super precise musical corrections without ever breaking your creative flow. Okay, deep breath. The performance is captured, it's been perfectly edited and cleaned up. Now we get to the real heart of the mix, building that classic vocal chain. This is how we get that polished, front and center, professional sound that we are all chasing after. And listen, we're going to follow this exact order of operations. This sequence here is absolutely critical because each stage prepares the vocal for the next one. Think about it. You have to clean things up before you can enhance them, and you have to control the dynamics before you start messing with the really fine details. Right, so before you get excited and start boosting frequencies to add shine or presence, don't do it yet. You have to perform surgery first. This is subtractive EQ. We're going to use a high-pass filter to just chop off any of that useless microphone rumble. Then we make these really targeted narrow cuts to get rid of any boomy mud down in the low mids or that awful boxy sound that comes from the room. This is what creates clarity. It's all about what you take away. Okay, vocal is clean. Now let's talk dynamics. The amateur move is to slap on one compressor and just crush it, forcing it to work way too hard. And what happens? It sounds squashed, it sounds unnatural. The pro technique is what we call serial compression. We use 2 different compressors in a row, with each one just doing a little bit of the work. The result? It's transparent, it's musical, and it's so much more controlled. And here they are, the classic dynamic duo. First up, you've got the 1176. I want you to think of this one as the peak tammer. It has a ridiculously fast attack, so its only job is to catch the absolute loudest, pokiest moments, the transients, and just shave them down a tiny bit, like 1 to 3 dB. Then, right after it, comes the LA2A, the musical leveler. This thing is slow, it's smooth, and its job is to gently ride the overall level, adding that beautiful tube warmth and just gluing the whole performance together. So the 1176 is the nimble guard, and the LA2A is the smooth, heavyweight foundation. Okay, so we've compressed the vocal. Maybe we've even boosted some high frequencies to add air. But now a new villain enters the scene, sibilance. You know, that harsh, piercing S sound you get on S and T sounds? Well, all our processing just made it 10 times worse. And trust me, learning to manage this is a true sign of a pro mix. The good news is, teaming it is a pretty simple 4-step process. First, you gotta find the problem frequency. You just isolate the detector and sweep around until you find that nasty S sound. For male vocals, it's usually hanging out around 5 to 6 kilohertz. Then you set your threshold so the de-esser only kicks in on those sibilant sounds, not the rest of the vocal. And finally, you dial in just enough reduction to soften the S without giving the singer a lisp. The goal here is always transparency. And just like that, we've done it. Our vocal is clean, it's controlled, it's polished, but it's also kind of floating in a dry, digital vacuum. So for the final step, we're going to create a world for it to live in. Let's place it in a realistic 3-dimensional space using reverb and delay. Now here is a critical rule. We never put reverb directly on the vocal track itself. Instead, we use a technique called parallel processing. We create a separate track, a bus, put the reverb on that, and then we send a copy of our vocal over to it. Why? Because this is absolutely key for blending in the perfect amount of space while keeping our main dry vocal totally clear, totally focused, and right up front in the mix. Okay, so when you open up a reverb plugin, there are like a million knobs and sliders you could tweak, right? It can be overwhelming. But listen, there is one parameter that stands above all the others in importance. And this brings us to what might be the single most important pro tip for getting a clear, professional-sounding vocal reverb. 80 milliseconds. That's it. That number is your pre-delay. What does that mean? It means by setting your reverb's pre-delay to around 80 milliseconds, you're creating a tiny little pocket of silence, a gap between the dry vocal and the moment the reverb tail actually starts. This one simple setting is a secret weapon. It prevents your reverb from turning into mud, and it dramatically improves how well you can understand the lyrics. And you can really see the magic of that gap here. That tiny bit of space is what separates the vocal from the environment it's living in. It's the trick that allows a vocal to sound both huge and spacious and punchy and right in your face at the same time. I'm telling you, this one setting is so often the difference between a vocal that sounds buried and washed out in the mix and one that sits perfectly and professionally right on top of it. And there you have it. That is the complete blueprint from start to finish. From prepping your PC all the way to adding those final spatial effects. When you follow a structured, methodical approach like this one, you're not just randomly recording audio and crossing your fingers anymore. No, you are purposefully and predictably engineering a professional vocal performance every single time.